Rollo Coaster is an important coaster for the amusement industry. Not only is it one of the top attractions at Idlewild in Pennsylvania, but it also served as the inspiration for Boulder Dash at Lake Compounce, which has won multiple golden ticket awards and it's one of my favorite coasters anywhere. Rollo Coaster underwent some major changes in recent years after a tragic accident, but were all the changes positive? Find out in this review of Rollo Coaster. PTC built this coaster back in 1938. Designed by Herb Schmeck, this wood coaster runs along a wooded hillside. The ride only stands 27 feet or 8 meters tall, but it uses the terrain brilliantly to offer a better ride experience than other junior woodies. Very little of this coaster can be seen from within the amusement park. The ride is all brown and blocked almost entirely by trees. You can see the coaster's outward leg from one of the parking lots though, and you can see the return leg from Soak Zone Water Park. The only part you can see from the dry side is the ride's lift hill and the classic station. I love the giant sign and the large manually operated brake levers. It oozes history. But then you see the trains. They look comically out of place, but they were necessary to keep the ride open. This coaster originally ran with 2 trains. Each was comprised of 3 cars. Each car had 2 rows of 2, so each train could seat up to 12 riders. Most notably, these trains had 0 seatbelts and just a single position lap bar. It left riders so much more exposed than modern coasters, and Rollo Coaster ran for decades without incident. But in 2016, a 3-year-old boy fell off the coaster. The boy did survive, but Idlewild needed to make drastic changes for the ride to reopen. For the 2018 season, a new PTC train was ushered in, and this thing looks weird. For one, you'll notice these giant black fins on the side. These are to prevent riders from extending their arms because the ride's clearance envelope is much less than modern coasters. Second, it's a 4-car train. The front car is 2 rows of 2, but the other 3 cars feature just 1 row of seats each, so the train can seat a maximum of 10 riders. The train already seated 2 less riders than the originals, and the park went from having 2 trains down to 1. I am honestly stunned they didn't order a second train, so the ride's max capacity was basically cut by roughly 60%. And it only gets worse. The new trains are heavier than the originals. As a result, Rollo Coaster now imposes a weight limit of 265 pounds per row. Again, per row. Riders are weighed on a scale prior to boarding. This weight limit makes it impossible for 2 adults to ride together and extremely difficult for even parents to ride with their kids. I saw many instances where trains were sent out with just 5 to 6 people total. The trains also take longer to check due to the weighing process, which doesn't begin until the train returns to the station. Then there are also restraints to check, as the ride now has both a seatbelt and individual ratcheting lap bars like most wood coasters with PTC trains. Then the restraints need to be manually unlocked row by row. Once done, the crew needs to give the all clear just to advance the train from the unload platform to the load platform. It is a tedious process. I completely understand why the park had to install more modern trains, and I really hope they can do something about that weight though. It was causing many kids to not be able to ride with their parents, and it also created one of the slowest moving lines I've ever seen. If you don't head here early, you will be waiting a while, and the scary part is that Idlewild's other major coaster in Wild Mouse may have even worse capacity, assuming that one's even open. Idlewild did say they're trying to beef up Rollo Coaster support structures so they can loosen the weight limit in future seasons, but nothing has changed over the past 4 years. As for which seat you'll want, I slightly preferred the back, but most kids seem to prefer the front row for the unobstructed view. Once dispatched, you round a corner and ascend the lift hill. Off-ride, you'll see there aren't too many trees between you and the parking lot, but when you're on the coaster, you'll feel deep within the woods. These visuals accentuate what little speed this coaster has, and it really does feel like a miniature Boulder Dash. The first drop is quite mild, so forget about the airtime. The following bunny hill also has no airtime, but it does subtly bank right, so you'll get a little lateral jolt. You then crest the best element on the ride, a double down. It sneaks up on you as you suddenly drop down the hillside. The first part of the drop is large but pretty tame, but you have quite a bit of speed over the second hump, so you actually get some airtime there. Those up front get a weak pop, while those in back actually get a surprisingly decent burst of airtime. You then climb back up the hill and navigate a turnaround eerily similar to Boulder Dash's. You have this minimally banked, curved drop down the hill. and it has some really good laterals. The lats are sustained in all rows, but they have some extra power in the back. Make sure you put the larger rider on the right for this reason. Next is a large bunny hill that manages to give some weak floater airtime up front, the last airtime you can get on this ride. You then have a series of slow bunny hops going back to the station, but there are some kinks along the way to induce some mild laterals. You then hit the brakes, ending the 900-foot or 274-meter long coaster. And despite being nearly 85 years old, this coaster runs very smoothly. It probably helps that it ran light trains for many years and it has modest speed, but I'm glad this ride doesn't track poorly because this ride's primary audience is young kids. So what would I rate the Rollo Coaster? I would give this classic a 6 out of 10. It's an above average junior coaster. I love this ride's setting. The way it uses the hill and the trees to hide the layout is fantastic. Most of the coaster is understandably mild, but there are two notable elements in that double down and the far turnaround. I just wish I could have experienced the old trains, but I understand why changes were made. It really is a shame though that this coaster's capacity is so brutal. That honestly is the biggest flaw with this coaster and Idlewild as a whole. So those are my thoughts on Rollo Coaster at Idlewild. What are your thoughts on this coaster? Let me know if you rode it before or after the modifications down below. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.